Hello and welcome to my kitchen. My name is Sherry and today is Tip for Tuesday. So today I'm going to show you how to make a parchment paper circle. But before I get started, if this is your first time here, you love food, you love fun, you love tips and tricks for your kitchen, but most importantly, you love helping out a good cause. Make sure to hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell and check the description for the details on our chosen charity. Okay, so if you watched Sunday's video, I did a pineapple upside down cake in the slow cooker or in the crock pot. And I used a parchment paper circle then and told you guys I would show you how to do that today. So the reason to use a parchment paper circle, well, I'm betting that a time or two has happened to you where you have, greased and floured your pan and the cake still stuck to the pan. So you can consider parchment paper like an insurance or a parchment paper circle. It is insurance, so that does not happen. So another reason to use a parchment paper circle is what they call I think it's called a cartouche. Must be a French word. Anyway, and that is basically like you taking the parchment paper circle and you're making a lid to put on whatever you're cooking on the stove. So that does two things. One, it kind of slows down the evaporation or the moisture escaping. And so if you've ever had onions you're cooking on the stove and you're sauteing them, you walk away, you come back and they're all dried up. That will help prevent that. The other thing it'll do is let's say you're making a sauce or a gravy and you walk away and you come back and you've got skin across the top of there. It's kind of nasty, right? So if you use a cartouche, it will prevent that as well. All right, so how do we make a parchment paper circle? Well, we start with a square. So tear off a sheet, try to make it as square as you possibly can, and then you're just gonna fold it in half, just like a book. So just like that. And then we're gonna turn it and we're gonna fold it in half like a book again. So you should just have a smaller square. And then from there, you're gonna fold it corner to corner and then corner to corner again. And then you should have a paper airplane. No, it's not a paper airplane. All right, so then you take your pan. So I've got a springform pan here that I used the other day. And you're just gonna measure from the center of the pan all the way to the edge. And then that's where you're gonna trim. So I'm just gonna kind of mark it with my finger there. And then we're gonna trim it. We're gonna unfold it. Pray I did it right. And there is our parchment paper circle. So I have it a little bit bigger. Now, depending on what I'm making, I may want it just a little bit bigger or I may want it the exact size. So if it's just a little bit big, I can always go in and, trim off a little bit more. And you can also buy these pre-made, but it's so much cheaper if you just do it yourself. So there you have it. Now, if you wanted to use this as a cartouche on your stovetop, as I mentioned earlier, before you unfold it, you would snip off the center. So it would give you that hole in the center for, some of the steam to come up out of there. And there you have it. That is it. So I hope you find that a little bit helpful, especially next time if you make a cheesecake. I think it's really good for cheesecakes because whenever you have that crust and it's made out of crumbs, even after you take your sides off of here, you've got your cheesecake on this, but what if you want to put your cheesecake on a really pretty platter and you don't want this to show? Well, it's kind of hard to get under there with, a serving tool or a knife or whatever and without cracking the crumbs. So I always find this helpful that I can slide something right, my spatula right underneath there and slide it off. So anyway, give it a try. Let me know how it works for you. And I thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next Tuesday with another tip. Bye.